5 seconds in. Oh my goodness, how many seconds are we into the new year? And I bet the new year is going to go just as fast as last year did. Oh, I bet it is. All right, guys, we're going to do a fun fold. It's a classic, and I'm not real sure what you call it because I've seen it called different things, so I'm just calling it a classic fun fold, and you can call it whatever you want. This is a sample card that I had made earlier using the painted lavender and the perennial postage that coordinates with it or not. You can order these bundles separately if you like. You don't have to buy the whole suite. But here's the inside, and I messed up. I was using my silicone mat to stamp off on. Had a little bit of ink on it. Didn't pay attention, flipped it over to put the glue on it, and I got bits of ink. So I covered it up with butterflies, and I thought, you know, when I get ready to write my message on the inside, I can either just write right over the butterflies or I can skip and not write over them at all. So either way, it's good. However, I wasn't totally happy with this design. So we're going to change it up. We're still going to do the classic fun fold. We're going to change it up just a little bit. Okay. So for my card base, I am going to use, let me get all my bits and pieces up here so that you can see. So I'm going to use Highland Heather, typical 8.5 by 5.5, and scored at 4 1/4. You are going to want a piece of DSP. If you don't have the lavender set, don't plan on getting the lavender set, and you want to use something you have in your stash, whatever you pick out, you want it 4 1/4 by 5.5 because it's going to totally cover the front of our card. And then you are going to want a piece of fresh freesia in this case, because we have fresh freesia, Highland Heather, gorgeous grape, Lost Lagoon, pretty peacock, shaded spruce. All those different colors are in this DSP. So you want a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4. And I've got the piece for the inside of the card. And then I've got a scrap piece of Highland Heather to put a sentiment on for the outside. And we're actually going to heat emboss that today with the white embossing powder. And then we're going to die cut it out with those perennial postage dies. Okay. Not very hard at all to do. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and get this folded and burnished. Get my bone folder here. Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year. Oh, it's amazing. It just amazes me how time goes by so quick. Oh, me. But it just shows us how precious time is, doesn't it? So we've got the card base. So just for the minute, I'm going to lay it over to the side. Y'all can't even see my new little... I didn't do a good job getting my camera, I don't guess. Everything's set up. That's okay. So here is the new host code for January. Goes all the way through the month of January. So if you place an order with me of $40 or more, I will send you a free gift. It could be bling. It could be card kits. It could be some DSP, some 6x6. Yeah, sharing some of that new DSP with you. And okay, I don't know how long I'll get to leave it there because we're going to be doing some stuff this morning. All right. And of course I have a tickle in my throat. Why would I not have a tickle in my throat? Now there is one thing we need to do to this DSP to prep it for our fun fold. And I told you it was 4 1/4 by 5.5. Half of 5.5 is 2 3/4 inches. So we're going to lay this in the trimmer. Let me pull it down where you can see what's going on. So we're going to pull it down to 2 3/4 inches. And we are going to take our cutting blade and just line it up at 2 inches. Let me make sure I'm right on that. I think I am. I'm going to put that on there, and we're just going to slice it up That's it. That's it. That's the hardest thing you'll have to do on this card, I promise. All right, so we've got that cut. One of the other things I want to do is emboss this layer of fresh freesia. And I feel like, and you may disagree, but I feel like the Painted Posies 3D embossing folder, this is in the annual catalog, and I feel like that goes so well with the Lavender DSP, the Lavender stamp set. So we're going to put this in here, and I'm going to bring up what is now my very favorite cut and emboss machine. Okay, so when you get ready to do yours, figure out, you know, I do want a few of these little branches kind of showing. So I'm going to put that there, and we're going to move this out of the way. I love, and I cannot quit using my Gina K Intricate. I love this thing, guys. All right, I've got my plates in here. Let me back this out. If you've missed me talking about the Intricate, it is such a simple system, if I don't lose that. Here is the cutting mat. This is a platform, and it is a lot thicker than the one that we have for the Stampin' Up! Cut and Emboss machine. And I'm not going to get rid of my Stampin' Up! Cut and Emboss machine. It is a good machine, but I'm loving this because I'm away from those cutting plates. Eventually, this cutting mat, here we go, the cutting mat will have to be replaced, and I am getting better at remembering to flip it. And so, spine side in, I'm just going to lay that on there. And because this is how I am used to doing my sandwiches now, and you could reverse it if you wanted to, you absolutely could. Now on the side, and you can't see what I'm doing, I am turning, you can't see this, can you? And it's already sucked down to my glass mat. But I'm turning it on the side to the 3D embossing folder side. And if this wasn't on the glass mat, it is gripping it so hard I have to put my hand up here. But on a normal surface, you don't even have to hold it. You don't have to hold it anymore. Although that's a habit hard to overcome. We're so used to it, right? Okay, so we've got that. And let's see how this came out. Oh, it came out so pretty if I can get a hold of it. There we go. Sometimes I'm so grateful that I have such thick fingernails. Other times, not so much. So that's so pretty. All right, I'm going to put the embossing folder over out of my way. We'll get him back out here in a minute, but not just yet. Yeah, when you lower the sides on the Intricate, it's got suction, and it holds, oh heavens, it holds so well. So here's our card base, and we're going to go ahead and just glue this down to the front of the card base, and then I'll show you the fun fold for that DSP and why we cut a slit in it like we did. Oh, and you know, Thursday. All right, guys, Thursday is the 4th. I'm telling you, if there is something that you have got your eye on in the new mini, because it goes live this Thursday, get your order in as quick as you can. Stampin' Up! Actually does an amazing job trying to make sure, I'm off a little bit, trying to make sure that they have plenty of inventory for everyone. But in this day and age of supply shortages, etc., etc., you can't always predict. You can't always know. All right, so where we cut that at 2 3/4 of an inch, and we made a 2-inch cut. I am going to use my tweezers because it has that straight edge right there. We're going to take this and we're going to fold it back so that we are going from the outer corner on top to where that ends, where we cut it. And so to try to make sure I've got as accurate a fold as I can get, I just put my little tweezers in there, and then we're going to fold that back. And there we go. We got that one. Now we're going to turn this one and do the same thing. So you're going down right here to the lower corner. I'm just going to try to get a little bend on that. I don't know how well y'all can see what I'm doing here. And we're just going to fold this very gently. It might be a little fiddly for you. I don't know. All right, there we go. And just take your bone folder. I probably shouldn't be using this on my glass mat, but anyway, we'll take our bone folder and give that a good score. And then I do like and want to put just a little bit of glue under here. You don't have to use much, just enough to kind of hold it down. And that'll serve you well. Putting it in the envelope, it will serve your recipient well, taking it in and out of the envelope. And I'm just going to hold that for just a second. And then we're going to go ahead and lay this right here on the front. And hopefully I did cut that correctly. I did. And I have to remember I am going to be placing this down over a 3D embossed area. And so I do want to use more glue than I normally would. And I'm making sure I've got my glue right in my corners. There we go. Okay, so I hope y'all are excited. It's always nice to see and get new goodies, isn't it? And heads up, starting in January, every month, Stampin' Up! Is going to release 2 new kits in their kits collection online. And I'm excited about that. I was in there nosing around a little earlier, and I noticed that there was a newish kit that I had not realized was out, and it looks adorable. So I'll try to do some research on that and let y'all know more detail. Okay, so for the inside of the card, I'm not even totally sure what I want to stamp yet, but I do know that I want to take, let me explain something to you guys. So you see this stamp right here? There is a die in there, in the painted lavender, sorry. But it does not line up with this stamp. So what I want to do is take that stamp. Let me remove my protection there. I'm going to take this stamp, probably put it on a dirty block. Let me see what I have here. There we go. Is that going to be big enough? That'll be big enough because I am not going to totally do the whole stem that's on the bottom. And I want to take my fresh freesia and ink that up and just put a few of these on the inside coming up from the bottom left. There we go. Pretty, pretty ink. And so this is why I have my silicone mat here. It's kind of a way to save paper, you know, if you don't have scratch paper. And so that's it, except for the sentiment that you want to add on the inside. And once again, guys, honestly, I don't know what I want to put on the inside yet. So I do know what we want to do for the outside. And I'm just going to take, this is the new little cleaning towel. Can you tell it's been well loved? I love this thing. It comes with the Glass Mat Studio that is available to anyone who signs up to get the starter kit and be a demonstrator. If you've been on the fence about it, you know, hey, that's fine. Not a problem. Just saying, I would love to have you on my team. And I'm going to go ahead and just lay this in here. Because I know me, if I don't, I'll get ink. I'll get something on it. I'll get it goobered somehow, some way. And Dillard did go back to work. He is still on light duty. and will be for some time. He will not see the doctor until, I think it's the 17th of January is when he will go back and see him. So, all right, we've got that in there. Let me put this back away. Move my tweezers, my fresh freesia. All right, guys. So what I did in advance is I took the die from the painted lavender and I cut one of them out of Pretty Peacock, one out of Lost Lagoon, and one out of Shaded Spruce. And we're going to be attaching those here very shortly, so I'm just going to leave that together. I'm going to bring in my scrap of Highland Heather, and I want my Misty for this, just to make sure I can get good coverage. I normally start at about the 2-inch mark. You can do yours however you want to. I do have a sticky mat under it, so I know my cardstock is not going to move. And then I'm bringing in my white Hero Art pigment ink. I like this ink better. Let me tell you, that lid is on there tight. I like this ink so much better. I get better coverage with it. And I'm going to take from the Perennial Postage, You Mean the World to Me. I'm just going to line that up. All right. Line that up, and maybe it's straight. We hope, we hope. Okay. Then we're going to pick this up. There we go. See how my cardstock didn't move? Love it. All right. Can you see what I'm doing? Kind of, sort of. So we're going to ink this up. And because it is a pigment ink, it doesn't dry right away. And it is great to use for heat embossing. I'm just going to gently press that in. Give it a second. Okay, I really want that a little bit darker. I want a little more something something there, because if I don't get it on there really well, then there's nothing for the embossing powder to cling to. I'm going to leave that for a second, get my lid on here. And yes, I store mine upside down. That is a great habit I learned from Stampin' Up! And the way they make their ink pads. Okay, there we go, we got that. I'm going to bring in my white embossing powder. Fancy little container here. And pick this up. And as you can tell, it didn't damage the cardstock, but it holds it really well. You know what I didn't do? Oh, poop. I didn't use my powder tool, but it looks like I got away with it. Yeah, I got away with it. Awesome, awesome. Make sure I didn't take too much off. Just gently tapping. There we go. All right, for safety's sake, I'm going to put my lid back on here. I need to get some more white embossing powder. I think I go through that more than well, maybe clear. I might go through the clear more than I do anything else. And I'm trying to keep the noise away as best I can. All right. Okay. That may be getting hot enough now. Let's see. It's kind of hard to tell when you're doing white until you see it get darker. It gets brighter and it gets shiny. And I probably should have brought in my tweezers. That's a little warm. Just a little bit. Nope, I don't have it all yet. And you'll know you have it all when you don't see any dull, white, powdery looking, and it's all shiny, white, and raised. All right, and sometimes you just have to play with it a little bit. Now, before I close that up, I'm going to take my little towel again, and I'm going to clean my stamp while that pigment ink is still wet. Yes, I could clean it after the fact, but it would be harder to make sure I got all traces of it. All right, there we go. There we go. I don't think we need the Misty anymore, so I am going to lay that to the side. Let me get my damp towel back in here. I like the towel. Now, I do still like the Simply Chamois, but honestly, that not being so thick, it is actually easier to use and grip and clean with than the thicker chamois is. And I am really hoping, let's see, which one? I'm really hoping they make that towel available in their regular lineup. We'll see. I want this one. Oh, yep, that'll work. Good size, good size. Okay. And we're going to get back up the Intricut. Bring that back out. I'm on 3D embossing, so I want to go to die cutting. Oh, it won't do it. There we go. And make sure I'm on 0 because I've not ever had an issue of having to tighten up the rollers at all to get good die cuts. However, I am going to tape this down, trying to look at it, make sure I'm well centered with my sentiment, and then tape this. And these are used little pieces of crafter's tape. Okay, well, I think it'll hold it well enough to get that through. We're just going to crank it through. Do you see how I'm not having to hold it? Look at that. Look at that. And it just glides through. It does. Love, love, love it. All right, at this point, I do think I am done. So I'm going to pull these out, lift them up, and when I do, it releases, well, it releases a section on the bottom. Okay, let's see what we have here. All right, let me have it. There we go. But I'm wishing everyone a very blessed year. If you're going through hard times or struggles or fears or uncertainties right now, you know, I just pray that you'll feel God's arms around you, because He will be with you and He will lead you through it. He will. Okay, let me get this die back up. There we go, all in there. And I'm going to move this. And we're going to bring back in our card front. And I want to go ahead and kind of arrange my stems here. I think I want the lightest one in the front with the dark ones in the back. I kind of played around with these colors and tried to decide how I kind of wanted that to go. And that's kind of how I want that to go. And then, so for me, this fun fold isn't necessarily about seeing all of this, but it is about having those nice angles so that you can see that embossed layer. The sample card that I had done, instead of embossing, I stamped and heat embossed in white the big hugs. And I wasn't just totally happy with that. I thought that looked kind of plain. So we're gonna put these right about there. And I do want to bring in dimensionals. I do kind of want those up a little bit. So for the minute, I'm just going to lay those there and get them rearranged. And then I'm going to flip the whole thing over. There we go. And we're going to flip these over. They don't have to be the same height. You can absolutely stagger them. I'm going to lay that just like that. And I'm going to take my tape runner. Yep, it's Gina K. And very carefully, I'm going to put that adhesive over what I can reach. Okay, so those are kind of stuck together. And I'm going to lay those coming up about like so. That'll work. And then if I have any little bits that want to kind of stick up and be in the way, I can go back in with a little bit of glue, liquid glue, and tamp those down. Now, here we go. I had some dimensionals already, and let me point out to you that if you want to use dimensionals on here, you're automatically going to be raised up a little bit on this side because we've got the emboss folder and we have the DSP and we have our stems laying here. So keep that in mind, that you will want to put 2 dimensionals on this side. I don't know how well you can see how that difference is. Maybe I can hold it up like this. I don't know. Can y'all see that little, how it's going to be gap more on this side? So on this side, I want one on top of the other in both corners. Take that off. Let's put another one on top of there, like so. And do that for this corner. There we go. Did I take that off? I did. Where'd it go? I see one. I did take it off, right? Did I take it off of the other one? No. Look at there. Although it probably would have stuck well enough. All right, we're going to get rid of that. I'll use that later. I don't waste my dimensionals. Okay, now we've got that off of there. Now I can put that on top. But then, as you work toward the middle, just one. As you get your other corners, just one. Okay. Let's get this. And this one. I love doing this on my silicone mat. I do wish I made this bigger. However, there is an awesome silicone mat that comes with the Glass Mat Studio. If anybody didn't get a catalog from me that was supposed to get a catalog from me, please reach out to me. Please do. All right, let's see here. And is it straight? I always have to pick them up and look. I always do. So there we go. There we go. Now do you see how that is sitting really flat? Can you tell that that is sitting flat all the way across? And there we go with that. Gonna move this. Now, they didn't give us coordinating ribbon. And so this is retired Fresh Freesia. And so earlier, I went ahead and did a bow, and I thought, well, that would be really cute. However, if you don't have that, I'm going to get the bling that was made to coordinate with this so y'all can see them in person. And I wish now I had already put it out of the noisy packaging. But they're called Purple Fine Shimmer Gems. And you have the Berry Burst. Now let me take that off because I have little pockets I put mine in. You have the Berry Burst, Highland Heather, Gorgeous Grape, and Highland Heather. And I thought, well, you know, if people don't have a ribbon, a Highland Heather, or any of these colors of ribbon, then we need to stick with and use these. And I'm looking because honestly, we have all three colors in here. Do you see the berry burst? So you have free reign to figure out what colors. And honestly, for the contrast, I really think I would like to have the berry burst. So we're going to see how that looks. And I want one here. And maybe another one right there with it. And one right up here. That way there, well, maybe not on that Y. Let me move that. Move that a little bit. There we go. You mean the world to me, and that's where I want the focal point to be. The rest of it is wonderful too, but that's where I wanted it. And I'm going to check, see if I have any. I don't see any comments, but I know YouTube at this point, you could be commenting. Okay, I do see a comment. So now I am figuring out how to do this. Well, hi, Tara. How are you? You can see it. Awesome, 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 awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for letting me know. Lives are still a learning curve for me. And I really wish I could use StreamYard, but there's something I'm not doing right in my phone's orientation, etc., etc. And so I'm going to have to go back like a little kid to school and figure out why that is not showing up. So now do you see why I wasn't totally happy with my original when I got in here to play? This DSP is called Painted Lavender. No, Perennial Lavender, excuse me. And so I'm having a hard time between Perennial Postage and Painted Lavender. And then the DSP is called Perennial Lavender. And it's getting hard for me to keep them called correctly. But anyway, guys, what do you think? Here we go. There's the inside of that one. Again, wasn't sure what I wanted to put on the inside. And big hugs. And on this one, I did put You Mean the World to Me on the inside. I do have somebody in mind for this when I made it, but they may get this one instead. But anyway, guys, Happy New Year. I hope everyone has a very blessed week. I will have a pre-recorded video Friday if I don't also pop in and do maybe a short live Thursday because the catalog is going live. I'm not sure yet. I've got to be on the road tomorrow, so my time is not my own. Oh, thank you, Tara. I appreciate that so much. I'm so glad you like them. So, rewatch the video if you didn't see the very beginning on how to cut the DSP and how I folded those corners back. That may be a tip that would help you, because honestly, just trying to use my fingers to get those points, and I don't know if you can see, that one's not perfect. And it's okay if they're not totally perfect. It's fine. Your recipient is not going to be looking right there anyway. They're looking here, right? And what you write on the inside. Guys, y'all have a very blessed week. Be safe. Know you are loved. God is good all the time. Oh, thank you, Tara. Blessings to you too, hun. All right, guys. Until I see you again next Tuesday, I'll be live at 10 a.m.